Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Tuesday, November 25th, 2025, and you're listening to Alex's News. The high in Riverside on November 25th, 2025 is 74.6 degrees, with a low of 50.5, so expect a mild fall day perfect for getting outdoors. Coming up, we'll examine the reasons a judge dismissed indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and others, break down the key proposals in the White House's plan to expand Obamacare subsidies, and cover other top stories including international developments and local impacts. We'll also touch on economic shifts and tech innovations making headlines. All this and more on Alex's News. Stay tuned. Good morning. In a big win for former FBI Director James Comey and New York AG Letitia James, a federal judge yesterday dismissed their indictments. I'm joined by our senior justice reporter, Ethan. Ethan, walk us through what happened.
Yesterday, November 24th, U.S. District Judge Cameron McGowan Curry in Virginia's Eastern District tossed the cases without prejudice. She ruled that interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan had no legal authority to bring those charges. According to PBS NewsHour via Associated Press, Halligan's appointment violated federal law on interim prosecutors.
Why was her appointment illegal?
It boils down to a 120-day limit in 28 U.S.C. Section 546 for Attorney General appointees. The vacancy started January 20th this year when Biden's U.S. Attorney Jessica Aber resigned. NBC News reports career prosecutor Eric Siebert took over as interim the next day, hitting that 120-day cap on May 21st.
So what changed after that?
The district court then stepped in, as the law requires, appointing Siebert to keep going. But he resigned September 19th under pressure from President Trump, who blasted him on Truth Social. ABC 7 Los Angeles says AG Pam Bondi swore in Halligan just 3 days later on September 22nd, claiming a fresh start, but Judge Curry said no, the AG's power had shifted permanently to the court.
And Halligan was the one who got the indictments?
Exactly, she was the sole prosecutor presenting evidence to grand juries and signing off. Curry called all that an unlawful grab of executive power. PBS NewsHour notes this echoes rulings in New Jersey, Nevada, and L.A., where courts blocked similar Trump picks like Alina Habba and Bill Essayli.
Tell me about the charges against Comey.
Comey faced one count of making false statements and one for obstructing a congressional proceeding. It tied to his 2020 Senate testimony on the Trump-Russia probe. NBC News says he was indicted September 25th, right before the 5-year statute of limitations expired, and he pleaded not guilty back in October.
Any other hurdles for his case?
Yeah, even before this, a magistrate judge slammed the probe for missteps and misstatements to the grand jury. Comey's lawyer, Patrick Fitzgerald, argues the dismissal means the clock ran out for refiling. DOJ claims a 6-month extension under another law, but ABC 7 reports no clear word yet on that as of today.
What about Letitia James' charges?
She was hit with mortgage fraud, bank fraud, and false statements over a 2020 Virginia property deal. Prosecutors said she lied, calling it a second home for her great-niece instead of investment property to get a better rate. NBC News coverage shows she's still within the statute for possible refiling, and she pleaded not guilty too.
How political does this look?
Very. Critics call it Trump's retribution push. He posted on Truth Social demanding Bondi prosecute Comey, James, and Adam Schiff right after Siebert quit. Vice President J.D. Vance defended it as straight law, per ABC 7, but James sued Trump civilly before, and Comey led the Russia probe that irked him.
Reactions from the players?
Comey posted on Instagram, quote, "Grateful. Prosecution based on malevolence and incompetence? Heartbreaking reflection of Trump-era DOJ. Un-American for presidents to target enemies," end quote. James said she's heartened by the victory and will keep fighting for New Yorkers. PBS NewsHour has both statements.
What do their lawyers say?
Abe Lowell for James vows to fight any refiling as politically motivated. Fitzgerald called it a sad day reversed by the judiciary, protecting all citizens. NBC News quotes them, emphasizing the bigger vindictive prosecution arguments still pending.
DOJ side?
Ajit Bondi praised Halligan as excellent and plans an immediate appeal. White House Press Secretary Abigail Jackson says they'll file to the Fourth Circuit very soon, insisting Halligan was legally appointed. As of today, November 25th, Bloomberg Law reports no notice of appeal or stay yet.
Broader fallout?
This hands EDVA interim control back to judges until Trump's nominee gets Senate approval. It could nix other Halligan cases like one against a Kabul bombing suspect. CBS News notes DOJ appeals in other circuits might head to the Supreme Court.
Any expert takes?
University of Richmond's Carl Tobias told NBC News reversal will be hard, calling it a fatal flaw. Lawfaremedia.org says no appellate precedent backs DOJ's rolling 120-day clock idea. It's a unique clash highlighting Trump-DOJ tensions.
Timeline reminders for listeners.
Key dates: Aber out January 20th. Siebert's AG clock ends May 21st. Court extends him. He quits September 19th. Halligan in September 22nd. Indictments days later. Joint hearing was November 13th outside the district. Pretty rare. PBS details the docket.
Could they refile?
Without prejudice means theoretically yes, but Comey's tougher due to time limits. James, Windows open, DOJ called it a paperwork error and tried retroactively making Halligan a special attorney, but Curry shot that down as dangerous. Forbes says appeals by December 1st, likely.
Similar cases elsewhere?
Yeah, New Jersey court installed a deputy over Alina Habba in July. Nevada's Judge David Campbell barred Sigal Chattah in September. LA spared some cases not signed by Bill Esseli. DemocracyDocket.com tracks DOJ appeals to 3rd, 4th, 9th circuits.
Trump's direct role?
His September 19th Truth Social post names Pam. What about Comey? Shifty Schiff, Letitia. They're guilty. Justice now. That pressured Siebert, who resisted with career staff over evidence issues. ABC 7 ties it to his retribution campaign.
White House spin?
They say facts haven't changed. Halligan's qualified. A former Trump aide and insurance lawyer, no prior prosecutor gig. But Curry focused on the appointment defect. Sky.com quotes them pushing quick appeal.
Comey's background quick?
Obama appointed him FBI director in 2013. Trump fired him 2017 over Russia probe. His indictment linked to 2020 testimony. Prior rebukes included grand jury law flubs per PBS.
James, beef with Trump?
She won a big civil fraud judgment against him in 2024, upheld on appeal though fine tossed. This federal case was in Virginia over a Norfolk buy. NBC says pending motions hit vindictive prosecution hard.
What's next practically?
No refilings announced today. District controls EDVA interim. Reason.com notes DOJ rejects tolling for void indictments. Above the Law calls it unprecedented DOJ judiciary spat.
Coverage consensus?
AP, Washington Post, Jurist.org all align major setback for politicized cases. No binding precedent for DOJ view per uscourts.gov. Epoch Times echoes but leans different angle.
Ethan, thanks for breaking this down. Huge story.
My pleasure, Grace.
Coming up, story 2 after the break. Good morning, everyone. In healthcare news today, the White House is quietly circulating a draft plan to extend those boosted Obamacare subsidies set to expire at year's end. Chloe, what's the scoop on this?
That's right, Grace. Associated Press reporter Seung-Min Kim reported yesterday in PBS NewsHour that the draft would stretch the Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies for 2 more years. These were pumped up during COVID under the American Rescue Plan and have kept premiums low for millions.
Why the rush now, with open enrollment already underway?
Open enrollment kicked off November 1st, and folks are seeing sticker shock without action. The Kaiser Family Foundation warns average premiums for subsidized plans could more than double next year, from $888 to over $1,900. That's an extra $1,000 a year for many families.
What changes is the White House proposing in this draft?
Two anonymous sources familiar with it told the AP it's got Republican tweaks to fight fraud. They'd cap eligibility at 700% of the federal poverty level, higher than the original ACA, but not fully uncapped like now. And no more zero premium plans. Everyone pays at least $5 a month or 2% of income to prove they're real enrollees.
HSAs are in there too, right? How does that fit?
Yep, the draft lets folks in cheaper, bronze, or catastrophic plans contribute to health savings accounts. That helps with out-of-pocket costs, echoing ideas from Senators Rick Scott and Bill Cassidy who've pitched this to the White House lately. It's all about choice and curbing what they call ghost beneficiaries.
Speaking of ghosts, what's driving these fraud worries?
CMS data shows over 274,000 complaints about shady enrollments by last August, with nearly 91,000 this year alone. Paragon Health Institute flags 11.7 million zero-claim enrollees last year, over a third of exchange users, who might not even know they're signed up. They estimate billions in improper payments from brokers gaming the system.
How bad could it get without an extension?
Kaiser says a 40-year-old making $50,000 could see their silver plan jump $2,000 a year. Congressional Budget Office projects 4 million could lose coverage, with 2.2 million more uninsured next year alone. Unsubsidized premiums still rise 18%.
Trump's team has commented. What are they saying?
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told PBS NewsHour President Trump is very much involved, leading a bigger healthcare fix through the Domestic Policy Council. But spokesman Kush Desai called reports mere speculation. Quote, "No plan is final until President Trump announces it," end quote. They want to bring down costs overall.
Any hint on the big picture overhaul Trump promised?
This fits his pledge for a comprehensive fix, maybe the Healthcare Price Cuts Act. Past ideas include redirecting subsidies to people, not insurers, work requirements for Medicaid, and shorter open enrollment windows. Scott's talked HSAs multiple times with them since November 20th to end surprise hikes.
What delayed yesterday's expected rollout?
Politico Pro reports harsh blowback from congressional Republicans postponed it. Conservatives call it Obamacare light after years of repeal tries, while moderates worry about political fallout. No official release as of today, November 25th.
Democrats take on this draft?
Senator Maggie Hassan called it a starting point for talks in PBS NewsHour, warning inaction hurts families. Jean Shaheen welcomes it as constructive, noting most beneficiaries live in states Trump won. They pushed hard for a clean extension during the shutdown fight earlier this month.
Cost-wise, what's on the table?
A 2-year extension runs about $60 billion per CBO estimates, cited in Politico Pro. Permanent would hit $350 billion over a decade. Insurers, stocks perked up on the rumors, per Seeking Alpha.
Fraud fixes. Are they already happening?
CMS's June rule mandates stricter verifications and $5 charges for zero premium re-enrollments next year. They suspended 850 agents, and a November GAO report pushes risk checks on subsidies. DOJ charged 324 in a $14.6 billion healthcare takedown this year, including ACA schemes.
Critics say minimum premiums could backfire, though.
Groups like Families USA warn 960,000 might drop coverage. But backers say it weeds out fakes without scaring real users, backed by HHS reports of $16.6 billion in improper payments. It's a balance act.
How's public anxiety playing into politics?
AP NORC polls in PBS NewsHour show health costs swayed recent elections toward Democrats. The shutdown resolved earlier this November hinged on these subsidies. With 22 million enrollees hanging in the balance, pressure's on.
Next steps, Senate vote soon?
A bipartisan votes eyed mid-December, maybe in a continuing resolution or standalone bill per healthcare dive. Republicans failed full repeal in 2017, despite control, so this pragmatic pivot eyes affordability. Trump's threading the needle on ACA's staying power.
Chloe, great breakdown on this evolving story. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Grace.
Here are some other headlines. Washington turns up the heat in the tropical pressure cooker. The Trump administration has branded Venezuela's alleged Cartel de los Soles a foreign terrorist organization, with Secretary of State Marco Rubio announcing the move. Analysts tell the Miami Herald this flips the legal switch from narcos to narcos and terror, widening the runway for military action. That coincides with a show of force on the high seas. Think carriers, not couriers, as the USS Gerald R. Ford Strike Group patrols the Caribbean, and Reuters reports lethal strikes on suspected drug boats. Yet Axios says the White House is also dialing for diplomacy, with President Trump privately mulling a direct talk with Nicolas Maduro, saber rattle by day, phone rattle by night. Caracas, via PBS/AP context, rejects the Cartel of the Suns as a pretext for meddling, while NPR notes the policy blur where counterdrug shades into regime change hues. Eyes on the skies, China pulled off a launch-on-need liftoff, sending uncrewed Shenzhou 22 to Tiangong as a cosmic lifeboat. The emergency mission follows suspected debris damage to Shenzhou 20's return capsule, which Mission Control grounded as unsafe for re-entry. To keep calm and carry on orbiting, the earlier team rode Shenzhou 21 home on November 14th, leaving Zhonglu, Wufei, and Zhang Hongzhang briefly high and dry in low Earth orbit. Shenzhou 22 restores their ticket back, so their mission can stay on course for a 2026 close. Cue the space brace. The rapid response showcases China's maturing station ops and highlights the orbital jump problem that's anything but garbage talk. From moonshots to model shots, President Trump signed an executive order launching the Genesis mission, a Department of Energy-led push to plug federal datasets into national lab supercomputers and private AI muscle, one big closed-loop science soup. The goal? Shrink discovery timelines from years to, are we there yet? Days. Framed as an Apollo-scale sprint, the initiative targets energy dominance, national security, biotech, and advanced materials, aiming to double federal R&D productivity within a decade and keep pace with global rivals. The clock is already ticking. DOE has 90 days to map compute resources and 120 days to pick the first data troves. If science is a relay, this baton pass goes from spreadsheets to speed sheets. In Belém, Brazil, COP30 ended with more whimper than winner. The final text skipped a fossil fuel phase-out roadmap, despite a chorus of over 80 nations. Major oil producers held the line, and the climate line got thinner. A global Mutarao package did make the cut, targeting a tripling of adaptation finance by 2035. Critics say it's both too little and 5 years too late. The plot thickened, and the venue did too, with a fire adding to logistical headaches and the absence of an official U.S. delegation dimming diplomatic wattage. Activists called it hot air, negotiators called it the best available forecast under stormy politics. And a Beltway bombshell, the Pentagon is probing Senator Mark Kelly over a video urging troops to refuse illegal orders, weighing whether to recall the retired Navy captain to active duty for potential court-martial. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth labeled the message reckless. Kelly fired back that it's intimidation by bullies. Beyond headlines, this tees up a constitutional cliffhanger over the UCMJ's reach and the guardrails between uniforms and office holders, where good order meets disorderly conduct, legally speaking. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King with GPT-5, Gemini Pro 3, Gemini Flash 2.5, and Google Cloud Text-to-Speech. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.